All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. And this is like, what the heck is going on with our national economy, our global economy? Now, politics aside, I want to get into how can you capitalize while there's chaos. And I don't even think shift is the right word for it, but there is so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt right now. And how can you capitalize and grow your real estate sales while most agents are going to get out of the business? My name is Lars Hedenborg, one of the co-founders of Real Estate Game Changers, where we teach agents how to grow and scale their business and live a life of freedom, a life by design. In today's video, I want to do a deep dive into my thinking about the current economic state of affairs, what I'm doing about it personally, and what you could do if you want to grow your sales and add a 0 or 2 zeros to your net worth over the next 18, 24, 36 months. So first of all, I want to dive into like how I'm thinking about our current economic climate. You know, it's hard to just follow what the news sources are telling us. And oftentimes it takes a little bit of a 30,000 foot view to really get a handle on what might be going on. First and foremost, though, I want you to get out of the FUD, if you're there, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and get excited about what's going on. Most agents will fall prey to the FUD. They will not be able to get out of bed in the morning and do what they need to do to be successful. So that's the first thing I want to tell you, is that this is the time to get excited, and you will be successful if you choose to do so now. Next, I want to talk about do not get buried in the 24/7 news cycle. I actually went into that rabbit hole a little bit about a year or so ago. I was 12 years off of the news in the 24-hour news cycle. And then I just got in the rabbit hole and I got all in a tizzy. And every night I was getting updated on the same things I heard the night before, and it led to nothing. So pick like one news source that you know isn't going to be hypey. It's not right or left or, you know, whatever, right? It's just going to tell you what's going on. If it bleeds, it leads, right? That is like how news gets you to tune in, is that like, oh, I got to keep my eyeballs on the TV so I know what's going on. You have to get out of that rhythm. So that's one thing that's critically important if you want to add a 0 or 2 to your net worth, as the rest of the world doesn't know what to do in this shifting, chaotic sort of market that we're going through. So next, let's talk about the impact on real estate. Now, this is a tough one. As I'm recording this video, most markets are still in a situation where there's not enough inventory to meet demand. So basic market economics, anytime there's less of something than is needed, prices are going to either go up or be stable. Even though interest rates have gone through the craziest year, 2022, that they've ever gone through. I think it's in the last 40, 50 years, we haven't seen that dramatic an escalation in interest rates. So that's something that is a black swan event, and it will have an impact ultimately on real estate, but it's not going to be what the headlines are telling you, right? They're going to tell you that there's a 300% increase in real estate owned properties. And technically that's true, but it's an increase from 100,000 a year at its low to 300,000, where like 750 to a million foreclosures a year is not abnormal, right? So we're getting back to a normal level of banks taking assets back because people overextended themselves or they hit hard times and they can't afford to make the payments, right? So don't fall prey to the headlines. Just make sure you know what's going on in the real estate market, and just expect that the agents that win during these times are the agents that are willing to do the work, right? There are agents that are just tapping out. They're saying there is no inventory. You know, I'm not even going to bother. And I'll actually challenge them. You know, on one of our recent calls, one of our production masterminds that we do in Game Changers, one of the agents said, you know, I'm struggling to get listings. And I said, well, what have you tried? And they said, well, I'm kind of not doing anything because there's no listings available. And there are listings available, right? We may go from nationwide in the US from 6.5 million homes sold a year to 4.5 million. So it's less, but there's still millions of homes, right? Your market has listings coming on the market. You just need to work harder to find those listings. Next, I want to talk about monitoring your personal economy. Hopefully, you've had some inkling of things shifting in the general economy with, stocks and bonds and just uncertainty. So my hope is that you've pivoted your finances. If you have considerable net worth, you need to place those assets into asset classes that may not be as impacted if we're going to see more chaos in the future. I am not here to give you any personal finance advice. I am very boring when it comes to my finances. I have whole life insurance, which I know many of you will be up in arms. It's the stupidest thing ever. Not the point. It's very, very secure and stable. I own physical silver. I own a nice stash of Bitcoin, and I'm speculating on some altcoins right now in crypto. I have a large equity position in my home, and I'm really big on cash right now. So when asset classes take a dumpster dive, I'm able to step in and add a zero to my net worth. That is the goal for me over these next 2 to 3 years. Add a zero to net worth. So if you're not in a good cash position, or maybe you're like riding asset classes down, just consider where you might be able to protect or pivot some of those decisions without me giving you any advice. Just make sure you're in a position where if there is considerable future downside, you're protected. Next, I want to warn you, I mentioned FUD. You need to pay attention to the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, but stay out of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So stay out of the FUD. There's a good daily news source. It's called The Pour Over. It's ThePourOver.org, I think it is. And it's just a daily, and there's other services like that where it's not right or left or whatever. This happens to be a Christian based. So it gives you the news, what's actually happening, and then it gives you from a biblical perspective. There are other, like there's a morning coffee or morning buzz or coffee buzz or something like that. There are different just daily news sources where they're not going to ask you to come into a rabbit hole. They're just going to give you the morsel to know what's going on. 5 to 7 minutes once a day. That's all you need to stay in tune with what's going on so you can intelligently talk to clients about it and make your personal finance decisions based on what's going on in the world. And I'll say this, that this next couple years, maybe 3 years, it's going to be really easy to be successful. But my guess is 90% of agents won't go down the path of success. They're going to isolate. They're going to have self-doubt. Many of them will go back to the career they were doing before real estate because they haven't been through a downturn like this. This is different than 2007, 2008. When I got into real estate, the market turned, but inventory shot straight through the roof. There isn't much inventory now. And the market is just wonky and rates are going through the roof. It's just a very weird time. My point, though, is that you're going to have to double, triple, quadruple down on the activities that you know are going to get you the result. If it used to take you 20 conversations a day to set a listing appointment based on high quality past client referral, conversations that you might have, it may take you 30, 40, or 50 a day. Right? So you may have to double, triple your activity to get the same result. Don't tap out though and say that there's no listings. It's just going to take more effort to get the same result that you did in the past. But the good news is that many agents are bowing out. They're not doing the activities required to be successful. And that gives you a golden opportunity to take your unfair share of the market while this craziness, this shift is going on. Next, I would say stay focused on yourself. Try not to get caught up in what others are doing and what others are saying. That is the allure. We want to believe that that email that claimed you can take, 30 listings a day with this system, come to this webinar, this other bolt-on technology for your CRM is going to be the holy grail, AI-driven, whatever. You know what works. Just spend more time doing it. Cut out the things that aren't leading you closer to the meaningful goals you're setting for yourself, but pay attention to yourself. I like to say it's almost like the horses that have the blinders on their eyes where they are running their race, right? My my want for you, my prayer for you is for you to run your race, keep your blinders on. Don't look at what other agents are doing in your market. They may be chasing lead sources that are not proven. They may be doing things that are not proven. Your job is to do the things you know work and just do them with more discipline, with more intention, with more focus, and you will get the results. The last thing I will mention here is that there's only 5 activities that actually make you serious money in real estate. Outside of these 5 activities, I'm going to go through them in a second. If you're spending time doing anything but these 5 things, you're not in the game of doubling and tripling down and adding zeros to your net worth. Number 1 is prospecting. This is lead generation. These are conversations with would-be buyers and sellers. Number 2 is lead follow-up. Having follow-up conversations on the first conversations that weren't ready to go. A is appointments with new buyers and new sellers. N is negotiating deals, putting homes under contract or listings under contract. And S is systems, building systems in your business. So plans, prospecting, lead follow-up, appointments, negotiating deals, and building systems. Everything else is a distraction from you becoming wealthy, right? So get leverage, find a licensed agent who's struggling, who could take over all of the minutia in your business. And everything outside of those 5 things does not make you a lot of money. Those 5 things will make you $500, $1,000, $5,000 an hour when you can get everything else off your plate. So that's all I have for you today. This is not a doom and gloom video about the end of the world as we know it financially. There will be trials. There will be tribulations. As I'm recording this video, there are bank runs going on and markets reacting and like some pretty crazy stuff going on. None of that matters when it comes to crushing your real estate goals. So stay focused and live your life with intention. Be persistent and you will get the results you're after. We'll see you on the next video.